again, Magicalmike back in as I hope you're very well indeed, okay? Today we're going to look at an amazing illusion of all time, seriously, one of the world's greatest tricks of all time, and never a real secret trick, not very much known about, seriously. It's called Indian rope trick, okay? Indian rope trick going back about 700 or 800 years, basically. So let's talk a look, for a few minutes or so, the amazing, extraordinary Indian rope trick, one of the most famous tricks of all time, and also some people think never existed, okay? So let's look at this amazing trick, the classic Indian rope trick. Is it real? Is it fake? What is it? Let's have a look at it right now in this amazing Indian rope trick vlog. Let's have a look at this. Here we're going to go. So this is an amazing trick, you say, going back thousands of years, well hundreds of years, I say, seriously, going back a long, long time. The mysterious Indian rope trick, because Indian rope trick has been done by many, many magicians, of course. It's been seen, I think it was originally seen by a bloke in the 14th century called Ibn Battuta. Saw their trick originally about that sort of period, basically, and I think observed it basically over in the China kind of area. Many people have seen the trick over the years. It was seen, I think, in the last 200 years or so when the English went to India and took over the Raj in India and kind of took over in the last 200 years or so, from the 1700s or so. Basically, the trick became kind of mythological. It was seen by many British soldiers, activists, writers, kind of stuff, and people, actually travellers and that kind of stuff in India back in those days. And apparently the trick was also seen in the early 20th century, okay, and was actually photographed by some people as well, okay, and sent to the Magic Circle in England to analyse the pictures of it, basically, because it was quite a mysterious trick. People think the trick existed, people think the trick never existed, okay? What do you think about it, okay? Did the trick exist or did the trick not exist, okay? Now let's have a look at the trick itself, okay, because it's a really amazing trick, okay? And it's really odd because it's done at night time, done at daytime, okay? Magicians have done the trick, okay? Including, I think, Doug Henning has done it, okay? I think many people have done it. I think Thermiston did it basically as well. I think it was done by people like, obviously Paul Daniels did it back in the day as well. Many people have done the trick on stage and performed the illusion, okay? Though actually the trick remains a myth. Also, Penn and Teller did a film about 10 years ago or so, actually in India, when they went to Taj Mahal in India, and shot footage of a guy actually doing the rope trick as well, okay? So it's quite interesting to see it. And they also came to the conclusion that it wasn't completely real, but was partly real, okay? It's a mythological trick. In fact, compared to most magic tricks, it's a real mythology around the whole Indian rope trick, basically, as I say. Now, the trick basically was based on a kind of a basket, basically. The Indian fakir will come along, it's called fakir, okay? Come along with a kind of like a rope, put the rope in a big wicker basket. He would kind of blow on a kind of horn or something, or play a flute or something kind of thing, you know. And the rope would go up like a snake up into the air, basically, and be completely erect up in the air, about 30 foot up in the air, basically, alright? And then what would happen after that is that a little boy would come along, a little 3 foot high little kid, alright, and he would climb up the top of the rope, okay? And normally the magician would get up the rope after the boy, okay, with a big sword, okay, a big saber sword, and he would chop the boy into pieces, and the boy's bits would fall to the ground. His head would fall to the ground, his legs would fall to the ground, his torso would fall to the ground, okay, and then the magician would climb down the rope. This is amazing, isn't it? Okay, and he would take the boy's bits of the boy's body, the head, the torso, the legs, and the feet, and everything else, chopped into pieces. This is weird, isn't it? And he'd put the pieces into the basket, okay, the wicker basket on the ground. And then he would wave his magic wand kind of thing, and the boy would come out of the basket and completely back to normal again, basically, like that. So simple as that, alright? And then he would click his fingers and the rope would simply get collapsed down from the air, basically, okay? And it'd be a flaccid kind of rope again. What a normal bit of rope again. Really strange trick, isn't it? Okay. And that's how that kind of trick really, really went. Now, of course, it was done in daylight in the traditional stories back in Indian days. It was done in daylight, basically. It wasn't done at night time at all, alright? And other people say it was done at night time. If you did the trick at night time, it's different to doing it at daytime. Doing it at daytime is really quite difficult, isn't it? Because doing it at daytime would have nothing to hide, would you, basically? It's been done in broad daylight, you know. Night time may be a bit easier, because you can do curtains and that kind of stuff, and black art kind of things to shield the secret. But obviously, it's a different trick to do, isn't it, basically? Now, have a look at, I'll show you 2 or 3 bits of footage of the trick and the various versions of the trick as well. And some old pictures of the trick as well, going back about 100 years or so since the creation of photography, where people in India actually got the trick photographed, basically. Here's a bit of footage of the trick being done by a magician called Doug Henning about 40 years ago. He did it on stage, okay, with a little kid, okay. Just actually a whole routine, including Doug Henning disappears himself on top of the rope and appears in the basket, okay. It's a good trick. Have a look at this version by Doug Henning of about 1980, a pretty impressive stage version of the illusion of the Indian rope trick done again. It's on a stage version, not outside. The trick was done originally. Here's a clip of the stage version of Doug Henning from 40 years ago of him doing the actual fairly accurate version of the original Indian rope trick. Have a look at this, it's pretty impressive. It's good, that one, isn't it? I like that one. Very good indeed, isn't it? And impressive how he did it, isn't it? Now, other people have done it as well, okay? Here's a clip of me doing it. A clip of me doing it. I did a version actually in my hands, okay, with the rope. This is another version of the same trick done close up, okay? Of me, Magicalmike, doing in the rope trick myself, okay? With the rope in my fingers. Have a look at this. It's quite fun. A bit of fun with me doing it as well, okay? Good, isn't it? Again, no wires at all. Real bit of magic there. Good fun, isn't it? Okay, that's how you can do it. It's close up with your friends and family inside the house in cabaret kind of way of doing it. Other things, other ways of doing it as well. There's also, of course, Paul Downers did the version as well of this trick, okay? Back in 1985, did it outside actually, at Longleat House in Wiltshire, okay? And it's a brilliant piece of magic, specifically because I like it because he did it at night time, okay? Did it outside. You see the house in the background, okay? He did it with Deb McGee's assistant, okay? He does the whole routine quite authentically, actually. He gets up the rope, cuts the boy into pieces, the boy's body falls in pieces, puts it back in the basket. The boy jumps out of the basket completely unharmed, okay? It was still back to one piece. Quite authentic version of the original trick, okay? And it does it at night time, okay? So obviously that hides a few things, like, doesn't it? Could be black curtains, that kind of stuff, but it is quite an authentic version. Daring, I say, definitely. Back in 1995 of the original Indian rope trick, as it was done originally in the old Texas, as it was done back in the day, okay? Have a look at this. It's a quite interesting version of Paul Daniels' Indian rope trick. Have a look at this. It's pretty good. So they are a pretty good version of that's the sell the trick, isn't it? That's kind of the trick how it kind of eventually goes, isn't it, basically? As I say, Penn and Teller sort of did a version. I saw a version being done by Indian guys in India themselves. I went to Taj Mahal in India, with the Golden Triangle in India, Jaipur, Taj Mahal area, Golden Triangle, to go and see the trick done, as I say, authentically. There's so many people in the streets at Penn and Teller back in the day when they filmed this bit of film. I saw many magicians on the streets doing kind of magic. They were doing kind of vanishing beetles, vanishing coins on the streets. They were doing stuff like kids in baskets, kind of variation of the trick basically, not the actual trick. They did actually see the actual trick done itself, okay. And again, they got the rope went up basically in the air, okay. They got as far as that. The kid got up the rope, down the rope again. The rope kind of collapsed. The kid did not disappear, okay. The kid just went up the rope and down the rope, and the rope kind of just went erect and down again basically. That was the trick. That's as far as the trick actually went with Penn and Teller. So Penn and Teller kind of include the trick never really existed, because the rope itself really, it couldn't really happen because it was done in daylight and it was impossible to do the trick basically. And so they kind of concluded the trick never really existed, okay. And many people have, as I say, seen the trick. I think the trick was originally seen by a bloke about 1400s called Ibn Battuta, okay. He originally saw the trick in the 14th century, okay. I think he was in China. In fact, if I get it on Wikipedia, we can find out the trick over here. So have a look at this here. We'll have a look at the trick over here. Basically, the trick was originally demonstrated by a bloke called Charles Bertram. He's visited India and seen the trick in 1911, basically, and he'd offered a reward of £500. Said, but no magician took the chance to demonstrate the trick again. They offered money to see how the trick repeated for himself, basically, but the trick was never picked up. Also, in 1917, Lieutenant F.W. Holmes stated that he was on the veranda, group of officers in Kirki in India. He observed the trick performed as well with an old man and a boy and a rope as well. Okay, pretty impressive, isn't it? The Magic Circle also offered, about 100 years ago, Magic Circle offered a big, again, prize to have the trick done live, okay. Again, no one's ever taken the prize, have they actually? The prize has never been taken by the Magic Circle, has it, basically? Even though it's obviously nearly 100 years ago, they offered the prize, I believe. No one has ever picked up the prize offered by the Magic Circle, okay. So that's never been picked up, even though it's interesting that the Magic Circle does offer a reward if anyone could actually demonstrate a trick live in broad daylight. But no one has ever actually demonstrated a trick live in broad daylight, picked up the Magic Circle prize at all, okay. Interesting, isn't it? This is 1919 again. G. Henderson, okay, writing in Nature again, claimed to spend more than 30 years in India, knew many of the best conjurers in the world, and not none of them could do the trick, he says, okay. This is on Wikipedia, it's interesting, isn't it? Lord Frederick Spencer Hamilton, 1921, described the seeing the trick again. And again in Calcutta, okay, again with bits of the trick, but not the whole trick, okay, basically as well. So L.H. Banson in the book Indian Conjuring 1922 wrote that the trick has never been performed out of doors. That's to say that a rope thrown up in the air has not remained suspended in mid-air, but nor has any boy ever climbed up it. So basically he says he's offered about £300 again to anyone who could do the trick again, but again no one claims reward again. Interesting, isn't it, okay. This is magicians such as Harry Blackstone, David Devant, Horace Golden, Carl Hertz, okay, Survey Leroy, remember Survey Leroy, he's a classic, isn't he? Howard Thurston incorporated the trick in their stage shows, apparently. And they did, using the stage show, they did actually incorporate using curtains, mirrors and wires to do the trick on stage, okay. But actually the trick itself outdoors is very hard to do indeed, okay. Interesting, isn't it, okay. Thurston considered this never been achieved outside, and he offered a reward of £5,000, rupees, he says. 5,000 rupees, Thurston did. Anyone who could demonstrate the trick outside. Again, this has never been picked up apparently either, okay. Interesting, isn't it, okay. So 1935, the Magic Circle claimed the trick never ever existed, okay. Interesting, isn't it? But as I say, since 1934, of course, no one's ever actually claimed it, okay. And so on. There's many people have said they claim to see the trick as well, haven't they? A man called Karachi, a real name Arthur Claude Darby, okay, a British performer based in Plymouth, it says here, endeavoured to perform a trick with his son, okay, in January 1935 in Wheat, Hampstead, Hertfordshire, apparently. After being granted 4 days to prepare the site, the presentation was filmed by Gormont Films. His son could climb the rope but did not disappear. Karachi was not paid, okay, so the trick was never done fully either, okay. Interesting, isn't it, all this stuff about him, isn't it? So 1933, just masculine stated that he perfected half the trick, okay. This is masculine, famous masculine Devant, okay, great illusionist. But again, he could not perform the whole trick, okay, outside, okay. Trick could never be really done. Masculine never demonstrated the method. Offered £2,000 to anyone who could perform the trick outside, okay. Again, this was never ever picked up, okay. And again, 1950, John Booth. John Booth's a great writer of magic, John Booth. Have a look at John Booth, a classic, good book by John Booth. He again offered a reward of 25,000 rupees to any conjurer magician in India who could perform the whole trick again outside, okay. Again, many other awards have been offered, but all went unclaimed. Interesting, isn't it? So all these tricks went unclaimed, basically say. Interesting trick to say, see the whole trick, isn't it, about it? There you are. Many pictures. F.W. Holmes' picture is quite famous for the Indian rope trick done in 1917. That's a kid up on the rope, okay. Howard Thurston has a famous picture as well of the trick being done on stage, okay? And Joseph Dunninger, another magician, demonstrated how the trick could be faked with using fake pictures, okay? So again, some of the pictures may be fake as well of the actual thing. It's interesting to see the whole thing, isn't it, seriously? And Carl Hertz, a magician from about 1920s or so, again performed the trick on stage, okay, using his kind of usual techniques. Performed the trick, okay, on stage with kind of curtains, lights, mirrors, and that kind of stuff. It's very different to doing the trick, okay, as I say, doing outside, okay. So it's as I say, interesting, isn't it? Now, have you ever seen in the rope trick? Have you been in India, ever seen in the rope trick, okay? Are Penn and Teller correct? Is the trick ever been performed ever, really? Is it okay to get the rope in the air, the rope collapsing, but does the whole trick ever exist? Okay, the kid disappearing in broad daylight, kid being cut into pieces in broad daylight. Has that ever happened, okay? Or is it just a myth, okay? Is it fake? I don't know what to think about it. Let me know in your comments below what you think about it, seriously. Do you think the trick's real, or the trick is really fake? Let me know what you think about the trick, seriously. It's a good trick, isn't it, okay? Real classical magic, okay, going back hundreds of years, okay? As I said, the trick originally was seen by a guy called Ibn Battuta, and I think it goes back to around about originally, I think, to, I have to find the trick here about it, Ibn Battuta, if I can find it here. I think the trick originally was seen by him, basically, okay, around about 14th century, okay. So it's interesting, isn't it, that trick's gone back so far, okay. A number of people actually haven't seen the trick, okay, over the years, claim to have seen it, but no awards ever been claimed or picked up about the trick, basically. Good one, isn't it, seriously. Hope you enjoyed the very much you did, okay. There's very much interesting things. Ibn Battuta, the man who originally saw the trick he's to blame for seeing the trick. He says he travels through Hangzhou, China, not in 1346. Apparently claimed he saw the trick there and came to China in 1346. Okay, so it was never even in India in the first place, was it? Interesting trick, isn't it? Hope you enjoyed the way much you did, okay? Let me know what you think about the trick. Do you think the trick's real or fake? What do you think about the trick, seriously? What do you think about the footage, okay? Do you like the footage, or do you think it's fake footage and the photographs are real or fake? Let me know what you think on your comments below about the major trick in the rope trick. As I say, very good trick it is, seriously. Alright? Hope you enjoyed that very much indeed, okay? Please click the links below for 130 odd videos of magic and chat and illusion that I've done myself, okay, the last year or so. Please check my channel out, please do, okay? Alright? Say hi, thanks to my mum. My mum's helped out a lot this week as well, okay? On my birthday. 51 years old last week, okay, so it's my birthday, okay? Please check out my channel also for magic as well, please do, okay? Reviews of Copperfield, Paul Daniels, and Wayne Dobson, Chris Angel, and all kinds of magicians, seriously. Please help me out with that as well, please do, okay? Please subscribe, okay? Help me out, please subscribe, help the channel out, please do, okay? Look after those house a few more days, please subscribe, okay, to help me out, bring more magic to you, okay? I've got 40 years of experience, okay, magic since I was a 10-year-old kid, okay? So please, please, please subscribe and help me out with the channel, please do, okay? Look after yourselves a few more days to get in very, very soon for some more magic chat reflections and illusions. See you again very soon. Bye for now.